In this video, we'll show you how to install 3CX Voicemail Manager and kind of review some of the basic settings. The installation is pretty straightforward, but there are a couple of prerequisites that you'll need to take care of before you install 3CX Voicemail Manager. For one, you'll want to install Microsoft SQL Server version 2005 and above. The Express version, which is free from Microsoft, is also compatible. You'll want to create a database in SQL Server to house the table that's needed for Voicemail Manager. You'll also want to install Internet Information Server, which is free and part of every version of Windows that's supported by 3CX. So having done the prerequisites and finished this install process, the next step will be to authenticate your license to our services, and you'll do that with the next little application here that comes up. And we ask that you put in your registration information. You'll note that the little dots on the side indicate required fields. By putting in your registration information, we'll be able to notify you of any updates or new versions of the software, and we'll be able to help you if you were to lose your license key sometime in the future. And yes, this is my real contact information. So if you have any questions, you can contact me. It's also helpful for us to know where you acquired Voicemail Manager. So if you can put that information in there as well under the reseller. Okay, so we've successfully activated our license key. Let's do the SQL Server configuration. Remember, this was one of the prerequisites. You'll want to select the instance of SQL Server that you've got installed. You'll see we've got quite a number of instances in our environment. And select the database that you created previously. A quick test to confirm everything's communicating properly. Good. And one of the things that you have to remember to do is after you have specified your connection to SQL Server, you need to remember to create the tables that Voicemail Manager needs to store its information. You also see a couple of settings here. 3CX Voicemail Manager has the ability to specify a retention policy, which means that under a specified number of days, if a voicemail exceeds that number of days, you can have Voicemail Manager automatically delete old voicemails that are just hanging around. And what this setting does is also tell it to remove any records from SQL Server and from the web portal. If you've got that retention policy specified. You can also import existing voicemails that were created prior to installing Voicemail Manager, but there's a couple more settings that we'll have to do before that button's ready to be pushed. So we've specified the connection to SQL Server. In this tutorial, we're installing Voicemail Manager directly on the 3CX server, so by pushing this button, we're able to collect all the information needed to communicate with 3CX. In a call center environment, you might also want to specify a manager. So you can just enter in their extension number and the name of the extension group that they manage. What this will do is allow a manager to see all of the voicemails in the portal for all the members of the call center. If you don't want them to be able to do that, just don't fill in the manager in the group. A quick test, confirm that everything is working okay. That looks good. Let's move on to email. One of the primary purposes of Voicemail Manager is to email you a transcription, so we need to specify your mail server. So this is our mail server and my email address. Now normally you wouldn't specify this here, but it's handy because then I can use the test button to confirm that we're communicating successfully with my mail server. Now normally you would then erase this information so that emails are sent to the email specified with the extension in 3CX, if that all makes sense. And then the retention policy: do I remove voicemails from the portal and from SQL Server after sending an email, and do I delete a voicemail after the specified number of days? So that's what those settings are about. That's pretty much it, how to install 3CX Voicemail Manager. So I'm going to save all the settings, and then I'm going to start the web service, not the web service, the Windows service that actually monitors for voicemails and does the transcription service. So having installed Voicemail Manager, it's going to create a couple of icons. This one starts the configuration program, which you've already used, and this one gets you access to the portal. The portal's running on Internet Information Server, as I mentioned previously. And so the first time through, it takes a little while for Internet Information Server to compile all of the pages. You log into the portal using your 3CX extension and PIN number. And again, it might take a minute for it to create that. Now you'll see there's no voicemails here yet, so one of the things we need to do is create a voicemail. And so what I'm going to do is call myself, and since I'm on the phone, it'll go directly to voicemail.
Record your message and press pound, or press star to contact the operator.
This is a test of the voicemail transcription function. So it'll take a little bit because I have a scheduled task that goes and checks for any new voicemails, and then it goes and transcribes them. So we should see an email show up here shortly. There it is. So this gives you an idea of the transcription and the email that you get. You'll see a little information about the voicemail that was created. You'll get an attachment of the voicemail and a transcription. And it does much longer transcriptions than that, but this was a good example. All right, so now we have a voicemail and a transcription. Let's see if it showed up in the web portal, which it did. Awesome. So from here you can see the transcription, you can see various information, including the duration of how long the voicemail was. One of the nice things you can do is forward a voicemail to other people. So you'll see I just have 2 extensions specified in our test environment for right now, but you could select both of these people. You probably wouldn't want to choose yourself, and forward them along to somebody else. In addition to that, you can hear a recording by clicking on this icon, and it'll play the voicemail right through your web portal. You can also filter your recordings by doing simple things like typing in the first letter, and it'll go through and find one. There's also, for more complex queries, a built-in query manager where you can specify things like it was created between a couple of dates, and the caller was equal to a specified value. Press OK, and it'll create a more complex query. To remove any queries, you certainly just click on this icon here, and that'll remove any filters from the application. Well, that's about it. That's kind of a rundown on how to install 3CX Voicemail Manager and some of its basic functions. Thank you.